Today's the first day we had the shop open. Jamie's over there holding the fort down right now, but we're gonna get back to doing tile here. I pulled all of the little spacer tabs out. We used the 1/16 of an inch spacer on here. Next, I need to go ahead and clean the tile. It's a cement tile, so it's porous, so I've got to clean it and then seal it. I'm going to be using 511 impregnator sealer. We're going to clean the tile, seal the tile, let that sit 24 hours, and then I'll be ready to grout it. We'll let the grout sit 24 hours, then we'll be able to come back in, clean up any excess grout, and then after that we'll do the final seal coat. Let that sit another 24 hours, and then we can get the toilet on there. I've just got water in the bottom of this bucket, and I'm using a sponge. I'm not gonna worry about that spot. That's gonna be covered up by trim. I just got a foam roller and the 511 sealer, and I'm just gonna start sealing over in that back corner and work my way over. You can come back with a rag or a towel. It says to use a white one. I don't know why. Maybe it affects dyes or something in cloth, but it says to use a white rag. I'm gonna wipe the excess off, and then we'll let that sit. It says you can grout after 12 hours, and then it'll cure in 24 to 72 hours. So we'll let this at least sit overnight and maybe grout it tomorrow. All right, so it's been a little bit, and I'm just gonna wipe off the excess. I don't have a white cloth, so I'm just using a paper towel. I'm hoping these are gonna work great. So far, it seems like it's working good. I'm just gonna work from the outside in this time on wiping the excess off. So there doesn't seem to be a ton of excess, but there's a couple little bubbles from the foam roller, and it's getting rid of those. The sealer's been sitting overnight. It's about 20 hours. I think we're pretty good to go ahead and do the grout. I'm using Polyblend. It's a non-sanded grout for joints up to 1/8 of an inch. I did a bunch of research, and there was a lot of mixed information out there. So I'm gonna go with this and let you guys know how it works out. I think it'll be great. It's a charcoal color. Jamie wanted a dark gray or black to go with this. So we're gonna get it mixed up, get it a nice creamy consistency, and start putting it on. It comes in a 10-pound bag. I'm only gonna mix up a little bit at a time. This is not a big bathroom. I don't think it's gonna take a whole lot of grout to do it. 3 pints of water will mix up the whole 10-pound bag. I feel like I had about half of it, so I'm using 1.5 pints. I'm just kind of adding it in slowly as I mix here. That way I don't get too much water. I want to just get it just perfect, nice creamy consistency with no clumps.
Okay, so Zeb mixed up this grout, and I've got this putty knife, and I'm just coming in and filling these cracks with it, just like when I'm puttying furniture. I'm just forcing it down into the crack, and Zeb is gonna come behind me with the grout float and smooth it out.
That charcoal is really dark. It's almost black.
I wonder if it dries lighter.
It does. It's like when I saw it on the putty knife after mixing it, it was much lighter.
Yeah, but then you seal it and it probably gets dark again.
Yep. Let's see if we can both fit in here. So this is a grout float. It's just got kind of like a rubberized foamy mat on the bottom. You can get real nice ones. This one was $6. I figure if we ruin it, we'll chuck it and get another one when we do the tile on the backsplash in the kitchen.
I'm thinking about in the backsplash doing a gray grout. What do you think about that? In the kitchen?
Like a lighter gray?
Yeah.
Might make it stand out a little more.
Because
I've seen people do a white grout that looks pretty good, but that might be too much white.
Yeah, and there's slight gray veining in the marble because it's not just regular subway tile, so the light gray will look good. It's like frosting.
Yeah, it's about the consistency of some thick frosting. Cream cheese frosting.
It's making me hungry. Did you eat breakfast today?
Not yet.
No.
Don't eat this grout.
No. But we're gonna seal this today, right? Like you're gonna come back later and seal it, or are you gonna wait till tomorrow?
So you're supposed to let the grout dry like a full day.
Oh, okay.
And then tomorrow I'll come back and seal it. That's why I'm working on the Vanity. That way it'll just be able to set it in.
Oh, okay.
Because once you seal it, you can wait about an hour or two, and then you can step on it.
Oh, okay.
Like I'll just keep my socks on and.
We need to get. Can we get that cabinet built tomorrow behind the toilet?
Oh yeah, I might be able to build the cabinet too.
We'll just get. I was just thinking about it because we could just get the wood because we're just gonna do shelves with. We're gonna do corbels under the shelf, or we're just gonna do floating shelves. I don't think we really need corbels.
I have a feeling I'm gonna be in here with the sponge for a long time.
Yeah, I might have been a little heavy with the grout, but you know, when in doubt, use lots of grout.
Alright, got my bucket of water. Let's see if we can get this to clean out. Fingers crossed it's sealed good enough.
So there's a few spots where the sealer didn't quite get it, and so we're cleaning it up with this magic eraser so that way we can clean it off.
This is the sink and the table that we're turning into the vanity. So Jamie's got it all sealed up and ready to go, but I've got to fit this in just a little bit more. You can see there's a taller gap over here and it's kind of curved in the front. If I tilt it up like this, it sits nice and level. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw a line here, take my Dremel, and then we're going to grind down. I got about a 1/4 inch here that it's high and a 1/4 inch here that it's high, and then we'll sit that down nice and flush so that there's no more gap. If I really wanted to, I could go get more of a modern sink that sits right on top that just sits flush with this, but we really like this style sink. We picked it up for $10 at Habitat for Humanity. So I'm just gonna take a little extra time and fit it in. It's the style we like, so we're gonna run with it. The Dremel was gonna take way too long, so I've got a 36 grit flat disc on the angle grinder, and we're gonna see how that does. Alright, let's give it a little test. We don't want to take too much off. Oh yeah, that sits pretty nice and flush down in there already. I can just run a little bead of caulk right there and it's gonna look pretty good. Got Gorilla Construction adhesive. I'm gonna pull this out. We're gonna put the Gorilla Glue everywhere it makes contact, and then I'm gonna use some expanding foam on the bottom side and seal that up. And then after that, I'm gonna silicone around the edges, and this thing will be set in there. We'll let that all dry and it should be rock solid. I've got this large cavity in the back of the sink. I'm using expanding spray foam to fill that area up. That's gonna kind of solidify it, keep it from wanting to rock back and forth, and also help hold it in place. I do have a little bit of a gap right here. I'm using DAP Extreme Stretch caulking, and this is like a weatherproof sealant for windows and things, and I think it'll work really good here on this sink. It'll fill up to a 1/2 inch gap. That's why it gets its name Extreme Stretch. I'm gonna put a little extra on and then I'll wipe it back off with a sponge. It says it takes about an hour for it to set up, and then you can paint it or do whatever you need to do with it. Just gonna wipe off the excess, which there's a lot of it because I wanted to make sure I got that gap really nice and filled. And once I get this wiped off and cleaned up, I may come back through once it's set up a little bit and do a second run and do a little neater job. This was mostly to fill that void. Just putting the faucet on. These little nuts go on the back here. So we're pretty excited to be back here in the house working on the bathroom. Over the next couple days, we're gonna trim out the floor, get the toilet set, and finish up the sink. Should all come together pretty quick.
Tomorrow, the farmhouse is getting a toilet that flushes if it's the last thing I do. I'm super excited about that. We get asked a lot, how can we help support your channel? By commenting and sharing this video, it helps a ton. Check out JamiRayVintage.com for all your paint products. Tell your friends about it. Give us a thumbs up and subscribe to Jami Ray Vintage for more
DIY.
Hit the subscribe button.